MIA Boys. Wallpaper in the Wallpaper Horde. Mousepad if I can find it in the description. Don't forget my headphone is out, the Eris. And do not forget that the Magia cable is now available. Hello! Welcome to Z Reviews. Now that I'm done pimping all my things, also Patreon and subscribe star. Please help support this channel. These! You might know the brand Kali. That is not them. They are here. These are the LP-UNF 4-inch, which indicates if they're saying a UNF 4-inch, that maybe in the future there'll be a bigger one. But these are a quite unique studio monitor. Studio monitor! Designed for mixing and mastering. In fact, where was the picture? Look, this person's got a YouTube video, but he's gotten there, and then he's definitely, he's got some shit there. There's some shit going on, and here's all the other things. Like the IN5s are some of my favorite speakers of all time. And if we actually peek over here, hold on, in case you forgot about this, because I got to keep telling people, that subwoofer there, that dual 6.5-inch subwoofer is the Kali, damn it, got your name. The WS 6.2. And that subwoofer, which uses XLR ins and outs, so I can cut off 80 hertz from these speakers, which is what I use to test fucking DACs. The only setup that can test DACs with $5,000 in equipment, and that sub is one of my favorite subwoofers of all time. So Kali has sort of left their mark on my soul and on this channel. So when it came time for them to be like, hey, look, we've got a $250 set of studio monitors built, done. If you're looking in like this range, usually it would be like a JBL setup. Although JBLs are even usually like more expensive. And by the way, Kali comes from the hatred of the team. Not hatred, I want to say hatred, but let's just say they had creative differences. And the Kali story, if I'm remembering it correctly, was they used to work at JBL, didn't like the politics there, what they were limited to doing, and they made their own company. Speakers. So these are interesting. They are a one-side powered. That is a slave speaker, so that has a big, terrible connector that goes from one side to the other. We'll talk about it. This has Bluetooth in it. I know. And we're not going to freak out because there's a switch. They're kind enough to include a switch. I hate this chair. It just keeps squeaking. Hi, Fly. How are you doing? That is the most blue LEDs you're ever going to see in the entire world, and you could leave them on full blast if you felt like it. But no, there's a switch in the back that just disables those LEDs, because that's your volume indicator. It is a touch control volume on the front. In fact, we'll lower it down a little bit from the top. Boom. Which, once you set the switch, those will turn off slowly. No speaker grill covers, because it is a studio monitor. It's designed for mixing and mastering work. And you would normally get the iLoud Micros if you have like a $250, $300 budget. I did the iLoud MTMs in this desk last. Those are $800. This is not meant to really compete with those. And there's no room correction with this. There is a bunch of space correction options on the back of this, which you'll see with a bunch of dip switches. But, so... Game of Thrones. I should already shut the subwoofer off. I am currently using, I'm going to have to beat this chair to death, this RSL sub to sort of fill in the low end. I'm coming off a Topping D50 Mark III as my source. Balanced out to these, because they do have TRS inputs in the back, RCA'd out to a sub. If you had their sub, the 6.2, you would be spending 200% more on a sub to run to these speakers. So I don't think they're intending you to do that. I'm just saying you could, and then these would have 80 hertz removed from them and only sent down to the sub, and that would be a whole thing. So these speakers, since you have a volume control, you don't even need to have a variable DAC or interface that you control the volume with. It's way more convenient most of the time because that is kind of slow, and you don't get a remote, so you have to go up and physically push said buttons. Let's look at the back of the passive one first, since it's passive. By the way, these lovely speaker stands provided by Never Give Up, Never Surrender. I literally found these yoga blocks. It was like a 10-pack for $30. I'm like, I'm all right. I don't care if they say never give up. That's fine with me. Huge soft dome. Waveguide around it to steer the sound. Adorable little 4-inch with a reverse thing. and a nice soft surround in another little waveguide. Front port because they're designed for use in a desk. I got some panels back there I could link. Zeos, link those panels. You got a bunch of them off of Amazon. And they're stuck to the wall with blue tack. I tried a different tack over there that kept falling. Blue tack up here for months. The back of this speaker, which is rather heavy, I like to point out. The back is all metal, and it has, I was saying this already, this is a standard like connector for not DIY, but like home automation installs. When you don't want to have like a regular speaker plug, but you need to get 4 conductors or 3 conductors. This has 4 conductors. So you're running the woofer and tweeter separately. They could look just, I like Kali. I like Kali, ma, shook, D-Day. But this is the most annoying because you can't buy one of these. This is also relatively short. Like that's it. I think they might sell a slightly longer one. They didn't ship it with the unit. But, you know, Swan and Edifier, well, they've all sort of picked out, like, better connectors because you don't need this heavy a gauge. I don't think they're pushing that much wattage through. So that just sort of slots in here. It doesn't clip in. It does clip in, but it doesn't, like, permanently clip in. We have to unclip it. So there's your thing. You get metal backing. The bottom has 2 little rubber feet there, and then the entire front are these wild rubber, like, I don't know, blocks. So let's put this back up under the monitor. It's basically set up so that you can't really set them on either side of a television. That would make it a whole different level. And it would also mean I would want a remote control because then you got to buy a DAC for the thing. Next time, when the 4-inch goes to the 5-inch or the 6-inch, next time. Yeah, I'll link to the yoga blocks. And there's a cork one at the bottom. The last time I had to spray this chair, it was like, I forget what I used. Was it WD-40? That's annoying. Anyway, live with me for a second, and then we'll all kill it together. Let's move the Eris over, which is currently hooked up to the S17, because I haven't tried it on that, and it's, good. Powered unit. Let's look at the powered unit. I'm just going to have to get a ball. I'm going to have to get my yoga ball back. Now, there's a lot of stuff coming out of the back of this, so it's going to have to be a little bit more careful. There we go. So, connected to the other speaker right there, just as output to secondary. You get, I'll leave that off for a second, TRS. So I'm using these really nice RI cables. This was sent to me by the company RI Cable, which is Italian. And if you're going to have expensive, fancy cables, they better be free and they better be Italian. So there you go. You have RCA in, or this in, or Bluetooth. Power switch is here. That is the main bus power switch. It is running off of a simple, it's not a wall wart. Oh, there it is. I think you're it. Give me, what do you say? How many? You are a 24 volt 3 amp, and it takes a large style IEC power plug. So you're going to plug that in. And here are your, all right, we're going to have to unplug this whole thing. Come with me. Come with me if you want to live. So, can I put this down on its face? Yes, you can. Nothing is protruding past the face. So you can put it down without damaging anything. This is the Kali motto. This is Pictures with Zeos. You get to choose what the form factor is of your listening space. So, number 1. So there's 8 dip switches here. We'll work backwards. 8 dip switches, right? Oh, by the way, there's USB-C, so you can actually power this as a DAC. You can plug this into your phone with a USB-C to USB-C or your computer if you don't have a thing. You are then forced to use either the volume controls on the front or the volume control in Windows. Could I do that right now for you? It's auto switching to detect what's going on. It has priorities. C would take over everything, and then I think TRS comes in, and then RCA. And I think the way to get Bluetooth is you hold both buttons. Read the manual. There's just so much going on. All right, so is there Bluetooth? You know what? Because I think I only maybe tried Bluetooth the very first time. 1/4-inch TRS and USB. No, there is no Bluetooth. I lied. I didn't lie. I misremembered. There's a difference. There's a huge difference. It'll hold up in court. Okay, so no Bluetooth. Bluetooth would be nice. Bluetooth would require a remote. Okay, So what I was thinking of is USB-C. So there's USB-C, so you can use a DAC inside, or you use an external DAC, either balanced or unbalanced. Fine. The 8 switches, bitches. Switch number 8, the last one, has up and down. Down is on, up is off. That's the lights. Those beautiful, beautiful blue, giant 19 blue LEDs that show off the volume. If you want them to be on all the time, number 1, you're a sadist. Number 2, no. But you can simply turn that off by flipping the 8 switch up. I think by default, all these switches are down. So 8 switch up, light bulb off. Then you get the high frequency trim and low frequency trim. Now that's to tune both to your space and to your liking. I have a neutral setting, so 6 and 7 here are both down. That is the neutral setting. I don't want any more treble. I don't need sharpness, or I don't need any adjustment because of the way the desk is set up. It's perfectly fine neutral. However, I'm a bit of a bass slut, and although I have the sub there, I gave these a little bit of a low frequency trim up 2 dB, which is why 4 and 5 are up. So it's like build your own puzzle adventure. Now, run carelesswhisper.mp3 is 3 up. Is load? Don't. Shh. 1, 2, and 3 up. You don't do that. So here are your layouts. You either have greater than 0.5 meter and on a stand free floating. So I put them in my mezzanine upstairs because they're sitting in the middle of a room. That's what you'd put it on. You'd have it all 3 down. That's, I think, the stock way. Then you have it on a desk. I mean, on a surface of a desk. I mean, down here. By the way, look at that Cayenne stack. If I turn it on, it blows my my power load on my UPS, so I can't run it unless I shut off my big computer. Fun. That would require 1 up and then 2 and 3 down. And then if you're on a desk, but not greater than 0.5 meter, so like where we are now, but on the desk, then 2 is up. Then if you have it on a stand, they have a little picture of a stand here, which I would consider that a stand, and you're greater than 0.5 meter, then it's 1, 2 up, 3 down. And then if it's on a stand, but not farther than 0.5 meter, which is definitely what we're doing here, that wall's right there, then you have 1 and 2 down and 3 up. So I have 1 and 2 down and 3 up. And your other options are on a console, like if you're in a recording studio and there's a big console. So I guess that would be like, it's like a stand, but it's got a shelf. So it's basically a desk, but the desk is higher. Then there's 2 settings for that, further away and closer to than 0.5 meter. So that, you just program this in to match your space best, and you go from there. So now that I've messed up and told you all it has Bluetooth, when it actually just has USB-C, which is a nice feature, by the way. Let's plug everything back in. So we have got beautiful. I'm okay with this replacing like full-size XLRs and everything, by the way. Why it hasn't already, I don't know. Let's do the connection to the other speaker. And again, this is, I'm not lying, this is it. If this is a 32-inch monitor. If this was a 42-inch monitor, we'd have a real hard time getting this to plug in. So double check to see if they sell a longer cable. It should just come with one like a foot longer. And I would have nothing to complain about except for the fact that this is a big, chunky, weird thing. How did they get the heat shrink to do that? That is the most stressed heat shrink I've ever seen. And then we plug in our power, and we would put the switch on if we had to, but we don't. Look at those beautiful blue LEDs. Beautiful fucking blue LEDs. It's on now. It's flashing. It's doing... So this is a DSP corrected speaker, but not your control. You don't get to do room correction. It just has room correction profiles, which is what those dip switches switch between. I tried them parallel, and then I've tried them in, and then I tried them directly at me, and that's the way you do it. I'm actually sitting up a little bit too high. Let's see if the seat will actually... Oh, performed a function I asked it to without going... Okay, cool. I've never heard the song Soundgarden Limo Wreck, but I have it. So, do they want a sub? Of course, every speaker wants a sub. There's very few speakers that don't benefit immensely from a subwoofer in line. I'm looking at you, Cabas Rialto. So I would, because it's there, I would just turn it up to fill in. But because we have a little bit of bass boost on, and because these are specifically designed, and it will say so here, somewhere down here where it doesn't say it's going to fucking Bluetooth, you dumbass. It says these are designed for when you're doing mixing and mastering in a smaller space and where you are volume limited. So they're not designed to blow your brains out, which I'm actually probably a little bit too loud than I should be. Let's lower this down a little bit. Obviously, AC/DC's Back in Black. Needs no introduction. And these are small enough and close enough together that you're getting a perfect little point and a perfect little point, and they're imaging perfectly across. And you're sitting here and going, ooh, this is lovely. And you have to trust it for the mastering process. See, that's the thing. I could tell you that they sound badass and all kick ass. Oh, you can play all your music all day, which is probably what 90% of you people are going to do if you buy a $250 set of speakers. You're just going to crank it and run away. But if you actually pay attention to the music like a professional would, these are very neutral. Like, they tell me everything the song's doing. It tells me if it's got soundstage. It tells me if it's got too much treble. It tells me if it's got too much bass, even though I have the bass adjusted. Even if with the bass is adjusted there, I can tell the mix and mastering of the speaker with relative ease. There's no, these are not for, well, you could absolutely enjoy yourself with them. I'm going to recommend them. If you have a $250 budget, you just need a speaker. You could USB-C on your computer, plug it in. It's got a DAC. You're done. Use the stupid buttons or use your Windows control. But if you're also in the realm of you know what? I do masters. I do mixing. I'm my own little DJ. These are perfect for just a small desk with a small monitor, because if it's a bigger monitor, you can't get the wire to stretch. And I'm just going to check my mix. I'm checking my mix. Hans Zimmer could check his mix. Toonami could check their mix. It's just enough. There's been the only cheaper speaker than this that had that was the Edifier MR4, which was about half the price of these. It was $120 or $130. And those had the mode you put it in for completely flat versus dynamic. So I like those speakers in dynamic mode where it did more things. But when it was completely flat, I was like, you know what? This is acceptable. And these are the same way. These are a perfect entry-level little studio monitor. Because most studio monitors, you're looking at $200 each. This is sold in a pair. You're not going to get one and then get the other or they get a third. That's more JBL or the IN5s or the, what's the other setup that they have? I keep going to that. Hold on, let's go down. Oh, by the way, these do have 4.6 stars with 23 ratings, which if you know anything about Amazon, they usually don't get good ratings. All right, so let's see what I love. The reference studio monitor is there. There's the, actually, you're probably the 8. I love you, and you come in white. Those are the more affordable Project Lone Pine. These are the Project Independence, which I had that on the... Actually, I haven't tried those with the sub. With their own sub. Oh, but then I had them tube preing. There's the sub. There is a bigger sub, which they haven't sent me. So if you like these speakers and you buy them, don't forget to let them know. By the way, you should send Zeos the 1,000-watt Project Watts 12-inch subwoofer. Because if this is one of my favorite subwoofers of all time, yes. Ultra Near Field Studio, remember the little balls that rotated around? Those are sitting upstairs, not doing anything. And there's a Bluetooth adapter, so you could... There you go. That's what I was thinking about. Oh, Project Mountain View. You can get the Bluetooth adapter. How much is it? How much is the Bluetooth adapter? Go. Currently unavailable. My favorite. I love when things are currently unavailable, but they do offer a Bluetooth adapter with TRS, which is actually super unique. I should really see if they're going to come back in stock with that. So they do make a decent selection. In fact, I'm lost already because they don't show Bluetooth module post. They don't actually show this set of speakers. They're so new that it's not on any of their setups here on Amazon. You here? Are you here? No? I'm going to have to hit back a bunch. Hold on. We're going back to... Boom. Perfect. So, at 250, 60 watt maximum output power. I'm assuming that's I don't know if that's 30 each or 120 and 60/60. I don't know what other speaker I'd recommend for 250 self-powered right off the bat. Like, I could tell you a bunch of passive speakers of RB42s, but I wouldn't use RB42s for mixing and mastering, which is that's the extra benefit. You can get these speakers and they're going to be great on their own, other than the fuck blue. But you could turn that off. So I'm not even counting them as a negative at this point. But if you said, hey, Zeos, I have $300 for mixing and mastering, what I'd probably tell you is the iLoud well, it wouldn't be the MTMs, it would be the iLoud Micros, which there is a new version coming of that, and I will be testing those. But those are really for travel. Those are for throwing in your bag. They're this big, and you throw them in a bag. If you have a desk setup and you could afford to have a slightly larger speaker with more volume going on and a front port, these would be the speaker. These would just be the speaker. In fact, please let me know in the comments, what is your go-to affordable studio monitor for actual, like, damn it. If I caught the fly, that'd be awesome. For actually, like, mixing and mastering, what would be your go-to? What would be the GOAT? Where is your GOAT? Because I know there's, like, the Preston Eris. No association with the Eris from this. I know that there's certainly nothing in the... You're not going to get any Genelecs at that price. But what's your go-to? Because these Kalis are pretty unique in their form factor, certainly with the one-sided thing and being a studio monitor. Only that edifier really creeps in there to do that sort of like, oh, you have a cheap speaker? Oh, it's one side. Oh. They should offer these in white. That's what I'm thinking. But, by the way, that was Toonami Ignition. Because who doesn't have the FLAC Toonami soundtrack, Deep Space Bass? I do. Hold on. No. Basement jacks. Yeah, no, I'm quite happy. They've been down here on this desk for about 3 weeks. I took the iLoud MTMs, the $800 room correcting, 30 hertz or 40 hertz generating like crazy speakers. I moved them off and put these on right away. And I was playing with them, and I was playing with the switches to see and I was like, all right, this is a downgrade. It's not as good as an $800 set of speakers. And then all of a sudden I forgot. And I've just been down here and I've been watching my own YouTube videos, or if I'm editing things to go for sound demos, which, by the way, sound demos are available for patrons and subscribers. And it's just been like, this is fine. This is better than fine. This is perfect. This is exactly what I want. They're soft and they're coherent. Coherent's a big word when you're doing things with mixing and mastering. And I'm a big proponent of getting the height correct. You got to get the height correct. If I had just one block here and the speaker was sitting here, we'd be this far down is where the tweeter would be. Guess what? My neck doesn't hear sound, so I got them up. You're going to want to get them up. Whether you have to stack your K and stack and shove it underneath it, or buy yoga blocks, or get some sound rise stands, you're going to want to get these up. I don't believe the bottom has... Yeah, they don't have any like quarter 20 mounts. Some studio monitors will have mounts, so you can just put them on a microphone stand. These are not there. Not at $250. I'm not going to do that. But yes, so... Eminence and Shadow soundtrack. Just accept the greatness of that show. No one accepts the greatness of that show, and they should. Now let me open this car. Did anyone see Konosuba Season 3? It was great, right? I'm not hallucinating. It was friggin' fantastic. Great. Also, I'm watching this show currently. That's not how she came, but I feel like that's the more appropriate way to show off that figure. Anyway, wallpaper. In the wallpaper horde, all wallpapers. Someone complained about the softcore anime porn I have as my backgrounds. Like, the reviews are good, but softcore anime porn. Look, if I don't have all this shit going on, I won't do reviews. I am fueled by this, forcing you to enjoy what I enjoy. That's the whole point. For 11 years, I've been forcing you to enjoy both my music tastes and my anime perversions and my speaker and sound preferences. This is how it is. It's how it is. You want professional reviews, please go download Stereophile magazine. Wait, can you even do that, or you have to buy a piece of paper, which cuts down a tree? Don't kill the rainforest. Anyway, I'm done. These are on Amazon. $250, fucking yes. I'm hoping that the 4-inch indicates there'll be a larger one. And I'm hoping when they get bigger, the 5 and the 6, they kind of introduce it in a way that I could recommend these go into a living room. Because if these had like a fiber optic input, that could come, you listening, Callie? Out of your television, there's fiber optic. Every TV that's worth its salt has a fiber optic output. If these had a fiber optic input on a slightly larger chassis and a simple balls basic remote control, or if you want to do HDMI and do the ARC, where it's the audio return channel, a lot of the powered speakers are doing that. That would take it out of this like, oh, you could use these for that, but it's kind of inconvenient, to, oh, use these for that. It's not inconvenient at all. I don't know if you'll be able to get away with the no covers thing, especially that. I have a little what's it called? Nephew. I have a nephew. They're called nephews. I only have one, so I'm learning. And he's almost 2, and that's fucked. As soon as he sees that, that's the button. That's the button that launches the missiles or launches the choo-choo train, and he's going to just thumb it. So if you have kids or dogs or really curious cats that are going to poke their nose into that, make sure these are up on a desk and away, because they're just going to... At that point, you have different problems than I'm trying to help you with. Although I gave my brother for his television in his little living room, he had nothing, and I gave him the Swans, and I'm like, okay, where are we putting them? And the kid immediately ran with his thumb, and I went, oh, we're putting them all the way in the back. Swan OS 10s, I can't have that kid bumping them, so I might have to 3D print him something. But yeah, no, these are Weird Al, Genius in France, White Stripes, Expecting. Apparently that's Slavers from John Carpenter from the Vampire soundtrack. Probably the least good John Carpenter movie, and I'm sad about that because I love John Carpenter movies, and it should be great because it's about vampires. Comparing Sticks and When the Music's Over by The Doors. Yeah, I've just been sitting here, and as long as you haven't pointed at you, I've enjoyed them the most this way. They're great fucking speakers. I have very little to complain about at $250. These were $400, $450, $500. I would tell Callie to stop smoking crack, but $250? Fucking sold. Patreon subscribe to support this channel as These Mad Ravings, and there will be, there's a monthly Q&A question. I post one Q&A post per month. I gather as many answers as there are, or questions as there are. I answer them in a video. That video is available to patrons, but it is also available publicly. You don't get to ask the questions unless you're supporting, but you get to see the answers, because I feel like those answers could help more than one person out there who asked it. So check out my Patreon if you want to see the Q&A responses. See reviews early. All these reviews are behind the paywall for a little while, and then they go public. So if you just can't wait, then you could do that. Participate in yard sales where I sell things. I actually have 2 sets of these collies because they sent me an early revision set, and they were like, nope, firmware is not good on that. We're going to send you another set. So I don't know what the difference would have been between the two, but I do have an extra early edition set that either they're going to want back or probably not going to want back at this price point. They're just going to be like, fuck it. So maybe I'll sell those, and they'll be weird, and they'll tune into radio stations and tell you to do things to yourself. And it's like, oh, you know what? No. I'd probably keep these or not keep these. They're so inexpensive. It's like, what are you going to bid on them? Like $118? But yeah, they might end in the yard sale. Those might end in the yard sale. I'll talk to Callie about it. Could also make a 4-channel surround sound with them. Just saying. So yeah, see reviews early, participate in yard sales, Q&A, monthly Q&A with public answers, and the sound demos. I have to sound demo these. I have to sound demo a bunch of stuff. So if you haven't seen a sound demo in like 5 months, my bad. I'm getting on it. It's just, I actually did record a few. You can see the mics are set up over there. So that's that. For $10 a month, which due to inflation, is more like $8 a month 2-3 years ago, which is what's free, essentially. You can enter a private Telegram chat with me and 200 other people and ask me questions all the time. Instead of once a month, I'll answer them. We'll share pictures. We'll share things like, hey, Zeos, did you get the thing? Oh, yeah. Have you tried this? That's where you interact with me. For $10 a month, you get the paywall. I know you're not, at least you're not, I don't know. What does the paywall indicate? That you have the ability to spend money on the internet. That's a good break front. If you're just a troll, trolls tend to not jump over the paywalls. So very few trolls. I'm not saying there's none. I mean, shit, I'm in there. So there you go. But you $10 a month, you get to talk to me directly on the Telegram chat, and you get into a lifetime Swap Meet channel to buy, sell, and trade gear, which is available to every patron who is in the $10 tier ever. You never get kicked out of it. You can buy, sell, one to buy, one to sell, all the other things with like 400 other members who were there at any point. Is that it? Hi-Fi Guides. Check out Hi-Fi Guides. I will be going to, because this video should be coming out before SoCal Can Jam. Eris will be there. It will not be in its own booth. You could check it out at both the Linsol booth, and Mimic Audio has agreed to put a couple pairs there. I will be selling a few of them to try to help fund that trip. So if you're looking for that, and I'll probably even have some of the Magia cable. The beautiful, flexible, amazing Magia cables. Can I make a little, like, hold on, I'm doing a thing. Look at that. Oh, yeah. And then it just goes, Anyway, done. Softcore anime porn available in the description when you do the thing, but not really, YouTube. Don't take the P word. Don't take the P word. It's just anime girls. They're not even real.